Take a deep breath. Now hold it. How long do you think you can last? The average person makes it about a minute, maybe 2, before that primal panic starts to kick in. The world record, just so you know, is a mind-bending 24 minutes and 37 seconds. But that was done after breathing pure oxygen, and it's at the absolute razor's edge of human ability. For the rest of us, that vast blue 70% of our planet is basically an alien world. We're just visitors, tethered to the surface by the desperate need for that next gasp of air. But what if we weren't? What if the ocean wasn't a death sentence but a second home? The dream of breathing underwater is as old as we are, but the real science behind it is far stranger and way more complicated than you'd ever guess. From the mythical city of Atlantis to the voyages of Captain Nemo, the idea of living under the waves has completely captured our imagination. It feels like the final frontier right here on our own planet, a world just bursting with life and mystery that we only ever get to glimpse. The barrier, though, is brutally simple. Our bodies are built for the sky, not the sea. Our lungs are incredible, but they're designed to pull oxygen out of the air. Water is a whole different ballgame. The oxygen fish breathe isn't the O in H2O. Our lungs have zero ability to crack those chemical bonds. Instead, fish use gills to filter out the tiny amounts of dissolved oxygen gas floating around in the water. It all comes down to concentration. Air has about 20 times more oxygen than the same volume of water. And as warm-blooded mammals, our bodies are furnaces, demanding a constant, rich supply of fuel. Our lungs just don't have enough surface area to pull a living wage of oxygen from water. It's the same reason why dolphins and whales, mammals that went back to the sea, never re-evolved gills. They're all still stuck coming to the surface for a breath of air. It seems like nature made its decision. But humans have a real habit of challenging the rules. So the most obvious idea is to just copy the fish, right? If gills work for them, why can't we build our own? This is the dream of the artificial gill, a portable gadget that could suck oxygen right out of the water. People have imagined and even built concepts, like the controversial Triton breather or the amphibio garment, a 3D printed gill system. But this is where we smash headfirst into a wall of physics and biology. The numbers are just brutal. A human at rest needs a lot of oxygen, and way more if you're swimming around. Since water has so little of it, an artificial gill would need to be insanely efficient, processing huge amounts of water every single minute just to keep you from passing out. Critics of one popular concept calculated that the device would need to churn through about 90 liters, that's 24 gallons, of water per minute just for your basic needs. That's like strapping a fire hose to your face. And don't forget, breathing is a two-way street. It's not just about getting oxygen in, it's about getting carbon dioxide out. A working gill has to manage that exchange perfectly, which is a massive engineering headache. While some labs have made membranes that can pull oxygen out of water for things like fuel cells on underwater robots, scaling that up for a person is a completely different beast. So for now, despite some cool-looking concepts and progress in materials science, a working, portable artificial gill is still pure science fiction. Okay, so if we can't filter water, what if we just breathed something else? This is where things get really weird. It's an idea called liquid breathing. It involves completely filling your lungs not with water, but with a special oxygen-rich fluid called a perfluorocarbon, or PFC. PFCs are bizarre. They're biologically inert, and they can dissolve way more oxygen and carbon dioxide than our own blood. In theory, you could breathe this stuff. Your lungs would pull the oxygen out of it just like they do from air. And this isn't just a theory, it's been tested. Back in the 1960s, scientists famously dunked mice in oxygenated PFCs, and the mice were able to breathe the liquid and survive. More importantly, this has real-world medical uses. Partial liquid ventilation, where the lungs are only partly filled with PFCs, has been used to help premature infants with undeveloped lungs and adults with severe respiratory problems. A French company called Oryxia is even developing total liquid ventilation systems to do things like rapidly cool down cardiac arrest patients. So is this our ticket to the deep? Not quite. The problem is that PFCs are incredibly dense and thick, about twice as dense as water. While you could get oxygen from it, the physical act of pushing this heavy liquid in and out of your lungs would be exhausting. Your diaphragm and chest muscles just aren't strong enough to do it on their own without a powerful mechanical ventilator. Plus, getting the CO2 out efficiently is another huge challenge. You'd feel like you were drowning the entire time, even while your body was getting all the oxygen it needed. So, while liquid breathing is a potent medical tool, it's not a key to freedom. It just means trading an air tank for a pump, forever tied to a machine. If technology can't get us there, could we just adapt? Could humanity evolve to live underwater? The short answer is almost definitely no. Evolution doesn't work on demand. It would take incredible evolutionary pressure and millions of years of massive changes to our entire respiratory, circulatory, and metabolic systems. And again, no land mammal that has returned to the ocean has ever evolved gills, which suggests it's a one-way evolutionary street. What about a more direct approach, like genetic engineering? Could we, in theory, rewrite our DNA to grow gills? It's a fun thought experiment, but the complexity is just mind-boggling. You wouldn't just be adding a new organ, you'd have to fundamentally rewire your entire physiology to support it. The ethical and practical hurdles are, for now, insurmountable. The closest thing we have to a natural underwater superpower is a ghost of our evolutionary past, the mammalian dive reflex. When your face gets submerged in cold water, your body automatically kicks off a series of tricks to save oxygen. Your heart rate slows down, and the blood vessels in your arms and legs constrict, pushing oxygen-rich blood to your brain and heart, where it's needed most. This is what allows trained freedivers to pull off their incredible stunts. It's a remarkable adaptation, but it's a survival mechanism, not a solution. It just extends the clock. It can't stop it from ticking. So can humans ever actually breathe underwater? After all that, the answer seems to be a clear and resounding no. Not in the way we dream about, anyway. We can't naturally evolve gills, and the tech to build them is hamstrung by the laws of physics. Liquid breathing is a bizarre medical procedure, not a path to becoming Aquaman. But maybe we've been asking the wrong question the whole time. The strange answer I promised isn't some magical new technology. It's a change in perspective. Our future in the ocean might not be about changing us to fit the environment, but about changing the environment to fit us. The real quest isn't about becoming fish people. It's about becoming better architects. We're already doing it. We build advanced submarines that take us to the deepest parts of the ocean. We're designing sophisticated underwater habitats where we can live and work for weeks at a time, supplied with the very air we need. We use remotely operated vehicles as our eyes and hands, in depths we can never physically touch. The future isn't a lone diver with artificial gills. It's whole communities living and working in the deep, supported by the technology that lets us bring our own little bubble of Earth with us. We won't conquer the ocean by giving up our lungs, but by using our minds. The human future underwater isn't biological, it's architectural. We were born of the air, and when we go into the sea, we'll be bringing the air with us. The ocean keeps its secrets well, but it's not the only mystery out there. What scientific puzzle do you want us to tackle next? Let us know down in the comments. And if you want to keep diving into the biggest questions in science and technology, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. You won't want to miss where our curiosity takes us next.